Hello, Transurfers of the world and Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia, and today, how to disrupt protocol or how to break protocol. This is going to be a 5-part series that is going to be playing out over the next 5 days. I'm going to give a number of how-tos for those of you ready to construct a new path this year. I know that times have been challenging. There has been a lot of disruption. A lot of people are at home, not making the same income that they've made in the past. Things have been turned upside down. And I hear a lot of complaining or people being dissatisfied with the status quo, the current script, the pendulums that are in power, the circumstances that surround them. And the number one way to divert from the current path that you are on, I'm talking from my own experience here because I have, in fact, broken protocol. I'm breaking protocol right now, right? And this is described as the accepted or established code of procedure or behavior in any group, organization, or situation. So really, just in me living my life, how I normally live my life and how I have lived my life for at least the last 15 years, you could very easily describe this as breaking the protocol, right? Going against the establishment or going against the conventional script. So for those of you that are challenged right now with creating something bigger, creating something better, creating something more stable, or creating something more in line with your intentions, with your heart and mind coordination, you are going to have to break protocol. You are going to have to divert from the typical script. And this video, along with the next 5 videos, are going to all be about creating something new, getting going in a new direction, achieving the goal, setting the vector, sticking to it, becoming more powerful, all that good stuff that we are all capable of doing as creators. We're all creators here. And the first step in this is really going to be breaking the protocol, because without breaking the protocol or waking up to what I call the blueprint, wake up to the blueprint, it's going to be challenging for you to divert from the script and do something different, something more interesting, better, more fun, more profitable, whatever it is, more freedom. Before I get started, remember to like this video and comment below. My world is taking care of me because it is, y'all, to enter my daily giveaway for my reprogramming stickers. And if you are interested in diving deep into the Transurfing modality, if you are new to this, Reality 2.0 on Teachable, check it out. It is a bitchin' course. There are lots and lots and lots of people that are very satisfied, and we have our own Facebook group for the course. I know I never mentioned that, but there's an exclusive Facebook group, and my advisors are telling me that I need to start promoting that now because it is a place where success flourishes. Absolutely. So, and then join us on Facebook, International Transurfing Institute Facebook group, and Instagram, reality_transurfing. So, again, protocol, the accepted or established code of procedure or behavior in any group, organization, or situation. So for me, I don't know what I was exposed to because we really are just a product of what we have encountered, our programming, the information that we have adhered to in our external environment. We are simply a program of that. Nothing is really a product of that. Rather, nothing is really original within us, right? We are all heavily programmed. Even me, I'm heavily programmed. Now, some of the information and some of the influence that I have been exposed to may have come at a little more a time when I was more in my development stage. I'm not sure exactly what makes me a little bit different or why I obtain the ability to not only consistently break protocol, but to continue in my own advancement, trajectory, progress, success as again, a product of breaking out of that protocol. So when I'm saying protocol, what I'm meaning is the conventional ways. Well, I'm going to talk about a number of things. I'm going to talk about the conventional ways that we do things, right? The typical blueprint that you have to run everything in a sort of pattern, because this is the pattern that pendulums have convinced us create success. I'm also going to talk about breaking the protocol with relationships, and I'm going to talk about breaking the protocol with pendulums on a case-by-case basis, disrupting the script. And what is not breaking the protocol, which means thinking that you're going against or you're trying to divert from the pendulum, but inadvertently you end up giving it more energy and not actually breaking the spell. What we're talking about right now is breaking the spell of perceived conduct in any situation. Again, big life situations, relationship situations, or little specific situations where a pendulum is in the driver's seat, right? That's really what it boils down to. So the reason that I'm giving this video today, again, I'm hearing a lot of people talk about being at home, not making any money, not being satisfied with the circumstances of their lives, and maybe the people or the different pendulums in their lives. And how a pendulum keeps you in check is that it makes certain that it convinces you that you must act or behave in a certain way to be right or appropriate, or that you are meeting the standards. Now, this is going to be a really funny example that I give you guys, like really, really funny, but I'll give it in a moment. But really what it comes down to is that I myself, from personal experience, have found out that and have lived this experience of extremely breaking the protocol. And not only are there not consequences, which pendulums typically like to convince us that there are actually benefits and rewards. So the reason that I'm giving this is because of the people that are challenged with different aspects of their lives. And this is going to be about how to break free and how to break the protocol from those circumstances that are in fact inhibiting you from joining the script that is intended for you. Secondly, yesterday I gave an amazing interview with a man named Ken. It's called Own Your Truth. I was very, very honest and very authentic in my interview, and I sort of let it all hang out. It's going to be a really, it's going to be a tell-all, you guys, and I'll definitely let you know when that one comes out. But one of the things that we talked about is, this sort of idea. He asked me, how do you move through the things that you need to do to advance your endeavors without sort of having a blueprint, right? How do you continue to move? And this is really one of my top keys for success, is really acknowledging the fact that you do not need a blueprint. You can create your own blueprint. You can create your own path. But again, disrupting and breaking protocol to exit that conventional blueprint, whatever it may be for you right now, and setting your own course, setting the vector of the flow, and knowing that you can absolutely do this without a prefabricated blueprint. Here you go. Here's the blueprint for your life. You can create your own blueprint. So the example that I want to give, and I know it's going to be a really funny one. I saw this Instagram. There's an account that has to do with the New York subway system, and I can't remember the name of it. It's really funny though. It's lots and lots of very, very interesting things that happen in the New York subways, and they're little video clips or pictures, and they're hilarious, as you can imagine. And there was this guy standing in a subway station, like this middle-aged dude, looked totally normal, and he had stripped all his clothes off except for a pair of like tidy whities, and he had work boots on. So obviously he was like a working guy, and he was standing there against a wall, and he was just dancing, and people were filming him, and he was just dancing, and it was like super, like a super sexual dance. It was really, really interesting. And I'm looking at this video and I'm thinking, okay, either one, the guy's totally insane and he just looks still normal, he looks okay, or he's realized that you can strip your clothes off. I'm not advising anybody to do this. This is an extreme example, but this is how I see it. He's realized that you can strip your clothes off down to your underwear and your work boots, and you can stand in a New York subway station dancing, and people will come by. Now, obviously, like this is going to be permanent, because now that video is permanently online. Again, I'm not advising anyone to do this, but you can do that and you are not going to experience any consequences. Now, is it outlandish? Is it crazy? Is it completely going off the rails and going against the script? Absolutely. But as long as you're not hurting anybody, and as long as you're not doing anything illegal, anything goes. Anything goes, really. And this guy, in my opinion, wasn't insane. He just realized that he could do that. And then he could put his work clothes back on and go about his day, right? Now, I know crazy example there, but this is absolutely the way that I see it. Okay, so this is going to be kind of like my 4 questions for any of you that are feeling confined, obligatory, or that whatever protocols you're adhering to are going against your intentions. Now, again, this is going to be very personal for each person. This may be a relationship that you need to advance beyond the protocols, because maybe the protocols of that relationship, maybe it might be a commitment, maybe it might be how you handle your finances with your spouse, or something with a parent or a child. Maybe you are feeling trapped within the confines of that relationship because of protocols that you could advance beyond and potentially not only improve yourself, but maybe help your environment and whatever person you are in a relationship with also move on if something in fact needs to change, right? This could also be professional stuff. Now, I'm going to get into the example briefly in a moment of how to work with the protocols of the pendulum while still waking up to it and going against it in your own way, where you still get to expand out of yourself and become more of yourself, while giving the pendulum, renting yourself out, giving the pendulum what it is asking for, right? So I'll get into that example in a moment. So assess which protocols are keeping you confined, obligatory, or against your intention. Which pendulums are involved. So this is really about calling out your pendulums now. Which pendulums are involved in your life that have you convinced that there is an established code of procedure or behavior in regards to that pendulum, and how may that no longer be serving you? Okay. So number 2, how can you work with the pendulum, break free, or disrupt the script? So my example here, I know there's been quite a bit of controversy on the Facebook group because another fellow reality transurfer, I won't name his name. This is me working with the pendulum, right? I won't name his name, but another fellow transurfer who has a very, very, very large following just lost his Facebook group and isn't quite certain why. So at that point, we started to become a little bit obsessed on the group of, were we breaking some sort of protocol that we would also have our Facebook group removed, right? And everybody got a little paranoid, and all the admins started going through and scanning all the posts to make sure there weren't any flag words or triggers that was going to set the Facebook pendulum off, right? So a lot of people said, we need to move platforms. We need to stand up to this censorship pendulum, Facebook, and we need to go a different route. For me, that's still giving in to the pendulum's protocols in a way where I lose energy. I personally lose energy because I have to start up a whole new thing and get everybody over to the new thing. Lots of people get lost in the mix. There's going to be a big disruption of what our intentions are. And that's to pass on transurfing knowledge to people that are there and need it, right? So instead of me breaking free, I have to assess, is breaking free efficient, effective, or can I work with the pendulum, right? So if we know that Facebook is pulling comments for cuss words, I don't say F-U-C-K anymore in the group. I say P-H-U-C-K, right? I spell things differently. I spell things phonetically. I watch what I'm saying so I can adhere to the pendulum standards, still do my own thing so I can achieve my results and my intention, but still deal with the pendulum in a way where I'm not going to either anger it to the extent where it's going to chop my head off, or 2, detach from it, which may not be energetically efficient and effective. So how can you work with whatever pendulum is in your life to break free or join along, figure out how you can do your own thing while still giving the pendulum what it's asking for, or disrupt the script, right? So when I say disrupt the script, what I mean by that is, as Vadim Zeland says in the book, when we act in a way that is considered abnormal towards the pendulum doesn't know how to respond, and it lets you go, right? The hook can't hook you if you shock the pendulum by an abnormal action or declaration to the pendulum. And Vadim Zeland, and I'm not advising violence on anybody, this is just an example that's in the book, but the guy that's in the train and the group of teens come up to him and are harassing him and getting ready to start a fight with him. And I think he tried everything, and then at the end he just had to pop one of the kids in the face, and that was disrupting the script, right? Again, I'm not condoning violence, but sometimes there is a particular action or something you can perform in that moment that goes against the typical series of events, and this can help you to sort of break the protocol of that script, right? So how do your importance levels come into play? This is really, when I talk about assessing which protocols are keeping you confined, obligatory, or against your intentions, how the pendulum has you hooked into a space where you are feeling confined, obligatory, or, in a space going against your intentions is via your importance levels. So you could be in a marriage that you've been in for 20 years and it's not working, it's abusive and dysfunctional, but then you're saying, well, I did say till death do us part. There it is. That's how the pendulum is keeping you hooked in with your importance levels. So if you are in need of diverting from the script and you need to break protocol, you need to disrupt protocol. Disrupting protocol also is achieved by lowering your importance levels, or rather, that's the doorway to disrupting protocol, because you're not going to be able to walk through that door if your importance levels are high. This is about you lowering all that stuff down and realizing how you can step through that doorway to another track, going against the pendulum, letting it go within and taking a step forward externally, going against that pendulum and diverting from the typical script. What slides or visualizations can you run that will assist you in your jailbreak? So this is a big one for me. I recently, as some of you may know that watch my videos, I recently separated from my mother, pretty dysfunctional relationship for a lot of years. And towards the end, what I started to do is really visualize what a life not being at the emotional mercy of my mother, what that would look like for me. Not having to take those abusive phone calls, not having to sort of recover after every time I felt walked on or stepped on. Now, again, started with me lowering my importance levels, right? But it was those slides that really helped me move into that space, disrupt the protocol, go against the grain, divert to a new script, because it's going to be challenging to divert to a new script when you have not yet envisioned that script. So if you're looking for something new and the first step is diverting from the pendulum and the protocol that are keeping you confined, visualization and really, really imagining a different scenario where you are free of that pendulum, of that protocol, and start to feel what that feeling is like, because that feeling is going to be the exact thing that helps you attract what you need to move through, to go in that new direction, right? And again, this can be applied to anything. This can be applied to relationships, your professional life, pendulums, one-on-one basis. Maybe it could even just be like you are still feeling drained and sucked in by the media. Imagine now what it would be like to be media free and truly creating your own reality rather than having the media create one for you. So visualizing is definitely going to be one of the number one. And then once you start visualizing, you can then feel better and more effective ways of breaking protocol. Because again, you're attempting to move from that frame which you are adhering to the pendulum standards, the protocol, and then getting to your own frame where you're free of that pendulum, and the bridge there is your visualization. That's kind of how I see it. The bridge is your visualization. So let me know your thoughts on this one, everybody. This is going to be a big one. Stay tuned for the next 4 that I'm going to be doing, how to dial it in, how to become more powerful, how to achieve the goal, and how to start creating. It's going to be an epic week, and I hope you will all join me. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to subscribe. We're almost at 10,000. Like, comment, all that good stuff, and join us on Facebook. Bye, guys.